I'm over here dancing, brother.
Alright, cool.
It's playoff time, man, and we went all over the map for a while with Manny, because Manny.
That's a given, I think. We always do.
Yeah, Manny's so enthusiastic about this place. He's got hit a variety of topics, and to his credit, he didn't get to spend all the time with us, so he didn't get to break down every game. So he wanted to give you guys his opinion on multiple topics. So that was good. Now we're back to the breakdown portion of the show. I told you there was going to be surprises. There's going to be great things coming, and the boss is only one more addition to what makes the playoff edition special. Come on, guys! If you want to make this more special, if you want to make this playoffs more fun for the teams that aren't in the playoffs, come on, join us. Skype, it's free. Download it. It takes like 5 minutes if you have a high-speed internet. You only need audio, man. There's no video. There's no shyness. Me and Stocks aren't that intimidating. It's not like you're talking to Larry King, Regis Philbin, any of those type of guys. I mean.
Yeah. If you mess up, we can edit it. If you have mishaps or whatever,
right.
We're fine. We got the edit. Logan's the edit guy, so. Definitely come on. We'll talk. We can start talking about trades. That's the time. You can put your word out about a trade, and then you can start talking about some draft. We're gonna have Alex out with the draft. I mean, we got things going here now.
I'm working on maybe a early season. Maybe a playoff thing with the Buffalo Bills. He's gonna try to come on in late November, early December, maybe when he's got some time off of work. So. We're working, trying to get some other owners on this thing. We're trying to spread the message of being interactive, and so I'm really excited about that. But come on, man, you're not in the playoffs. So if you're not in the playoffs, what better thing to do than talk about the playoffs? Or if you're in Stock's case, let's do both.
There you go.
So moving on we'll get back to the discussion portion of the show, like I said. But you can't pass up on the boss, But
no, definitely not.
Lance Briggs, Lawrence Atupu, two stud, linebackers. Manny mentioned it earlier. I think, obviously the Eagles depend highly on that defense, and why wouldn't you? Lance Briggs, Atupu, Clay Matthews. I mean, awesome. He lost. He did lose Asante Samuel, but I mean, come on, Clay Matthews. I mean,
Charles Woodson.
Charles Woodson and Asamoah. Forget next season and the season after that. This season's what matters. Asamoah. Woodson's a playoff performer, man. You know that?
Oh, he's a stud.
Listen, if he was any younger, he would be, probably the most coveted player, trade, free agent, anything. He'd be the most valuable. The reason he's not is because he's old. That's the only knock on him. But this season, it doesn't matter. I mean, playoff time. He's not going to retire this season. I mean, he's not going to retire at the end of the season into the playoffs. So, obviously, it's all good on the Eagles front.
And looking at it, it looks like Legadou Nene, rated at 73, is going to be matched up against Charles Woodson. Are you kidding me? It's just not fair almost. How is he going to do anything against him?
Well, first of all, if I was going to do anything, you move Larry Fitzgerald around everywhere.
Oh, yes.
Put him in the slot. Put him in the running back position. Put him wherever you can put him. Get him the ball. Screens. I don't care if you got to, like I said, I don't care if you got to put him as a Wildcat quarterback. You got to get him the ball whenever you can get him the ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yep.
So, I think that's what it is. Because I don't care if Asamoah's on him, Charles Woodson's on him. That guy, I called him that earlier. My nickname for him in Gridiron Gamers and anywhere really is a spider. That guy, he's got eight legs. He's kind of like a cat. He's got eight legs, man. Whenever you count him out, here he comes. You count him out in real life. Here he comes to beat the Eagles. Why can't it happen in Gridiron Gamers, baby? I'm stepping up my game. Stock's stepping up his game. And in the Cardinals, he's definitely got to step up his game to beat the Eagles. Because the Eagles no joke, man.
Yeah, the Cardinals are going to have to bring an A game, and hopefully the Eagles come and bring a C performance.
No,
it's just matchup performance doesn't add up. It just doesn't add up.
Hey, we got everything, man. We're the flavor pot. We're the melting pot of football right now. Gridiron game is exciting. I told you this is David with Goliath. This is we talked about how this playoffs has everything, the key matchups, the breakdowns, all that stuff. But what matters in the game is the game being played. We can talk till we're blue in the face. We don't know what's happening, and we wish these owners the best of luck. But the game will be played in the game, But right now, it looks so one-sided, doesn't it? But that's the beauty of this, because the Eagles, in my opinion, have all the pressure. You know why they have all the pressure, Stocks?
Probably because they have a dream team.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And what kind of pressure does the Cardinals have? Yeah, exactly.
Not supposed to be here. I started out 0-6.
Who the hell is this team?
Yeah.
That kind of. I mean, honestly, they start 0-6. They have Kevin Cobb as. Alex will like this reference because this is Alex's version of Kevin Cobb. He likes to call him Kevin Corn Cobb. That's what he likes to call him because he doesn't think he's a quarterback. But obviously, in this league, in this moment, he's being very conservative, and it's working for him. Let me ask you this question. If I was lining up as Charles Woodson, and you were lining up as Larry Fitzgerald, would you feel comfortable with that matchup? Would you think you had the advantage? I mean, do you think, let it be Awesome or Woodson, do you think they can shut Larry Fitzgerald down?
Oh, you can... I don't know if you technically can shut down a player that caliber. You can only hope to slow him down. What's going to happen is the Cardinals going to take some risk and some chances with Fitzgerald, and is it going to pay off? That's that's what it's going to come down to, and you should know that with Calvin Johnson. You think a guy's covered. And you still chalk it up there, and he still comes down with it.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a huge factor. And how many of those plays can the Cardinals come up with?
Hey, I think he only, okay, the key is to victory. To me, easy. He's got to keep the Eagles from scoring a lot of points. He can't get in a shootout. That defense in the Eagles is too good.
Yeah, but I don't see how... Beanie Wells and Ryan Matthews are going to be able to run against that defense.
Well, let me put it this way to you: the Cardinals' D isn't that bad against the pass.
No, they got the magnificent rookie cornerback Patrick Peterson.
Yes.
Rated 82 overall. It's phenomenal, 97 speed. His press coverage is a 90, man coverage 89. Just a great
He's
rookie.
got huge size. I mean, he's got safety size, and he can cover he reminds me of a bigger version of Charles Woodson, a younger, bigger version of Charles Woodson.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
So, because he can also contribute in the kicking game. That's the beauty. I mean, Manny talked about the Eagles and how he's got this gut feeling they won't do good, but it's the same feeling with the Cardinals. Hey, doubt them all you want. Put all the stats in front of me that you want. The facts are the facts. Anything can happen in this game, man. Anything can happen.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think the Cardinals really care if we're talking about him or if someone else is talking about him. All he cares about is beating the Eagles. And if he does that, it quiets all the doubters, man.
Yeah, the Cardinals have to win the turnover battle. It's plain and simple. You gotta win that battle. If the ball goes on the ground, the Cardinals have to come up with that ball.
Yep. Well, what's the key to victory for you? I mean, no, we talked about the Eagles' defense. We talked about this might be hard for the Cardinals. Larry Fitzgerald's got to get the ball. What's the X factor? What's the thing that might change the game that we won't really see until it happens?
On both sides or just one specific team?
Both sides, man.
On both sides, like I said, on the Cardinal side, they have to win the turnover battle.
Yeah.
And also the time of possession, because you don't want those Eagles weapons on the field for long. So you got to convert those third downs. You got to convert those third and shorts. And hey, you're in a do or die situation. Even those you got to go maybe on a fourth down just to keep that team off the field because you know they're going to score. They can score at will. So you have to take out, all the nicks and crannies that you can do. On the Eagles side, if they don't lay an egg, if they just come out and play their game, I just believe they're unstoppable.
And that owner, Death by Eagles, he definitely knows how to read a defense. He definitely knows how to read situations. So you have to change it up on him. And my X factor of the game, you have to get Larry Fitzgerald the ball. He can't just be a wide receiver, Larry Fitzgerald matched up on the outside. Put him in the slot. I'm not kidding you. You got to run some unconventional sets because you have to get him the ball because you don't have a stud that's going to take pressure off. Trust me, the Eagles is going to stock up against Larry Fitzgerald. You got to move him everywhere, man. And Manny mentioned this earlier, and it's a very good point. I don't think we're talking much about. The Cardinals. I'm going to pull them up here in just a moment. But the Cardinals, they have a really good rushing game. Really good rushing game.
Yeah, Beanie Wells and Ryan Matthews are not a bad tandem. Don't get me wrong; it's a pretty solid 1-2 punch.
Yeah.
They're both similar in style. They both have that in and outs, speed, agilities. I just have a hard time seeing them move that ball against the Eagles.
Larry Fitzgerald, Kevin Cobb. I'll put this out there, and Michael Vick threw for about the same yardage this season. They both had over 3,000 yards. Michael Vick obviously had a little bit more passing yards, and then if you average in his rushing yards, obviously, but they threw for over 3,000 yards, both of them, and about the same touchdowns. I think Michael Vick was at 26, and Kevin Cobb's at 25. So on paper, that looks like, but he obviously knows what he's doing, And we talked about maybe the Cardinals' defense not being very good. I remember in one of our podcasts, and the Cardinals. He listens to the show. I know he does. He might know that he's the underdog, but the fact is, he's got Patrick Peterson. Then he's got a guy who I think is getting overlooked. And do you know who that is? Let me throw that out to you, because I think he's
Joey Porter, maybe. I don't know.
Adrian Wilson.
Adrian Wilson, very good, quiet, strong safety, hard hitter.
Very quiet.
He's a hard hitter.
I mean, you didn't even know, but this is his numbers, Stocks. It ain't bad, man. He's got 49 tackles, which is a little low, but he got 5 sacks.
That's excellent.
He's got two forced fumbles, 2 interceptions. Or 1 interception, excuse me. But that's my point, and is, if he can get 2 sacks, Michael Vick, we talk about the ability of Michael Vick to scramble, okay? If Adrian Wilson gets a hold of him and gets a sack and 1 forced fumble, he's obviously going to have guys step up. There's no question about it, okay? We know that. Let's not pretend like he doesn't, but he's got a chance. And this surprises me. I wouldn't have guessed this. His other defensive stud is very low on the tackles, but he obviously uses them more as a cover corner type. So his secondary is proven to be very good because Kerry Rhodes has 4 interceptions, which surprises me. Now, granted, let's not talk him up more than he should be because he is 8-8 at 500.
Yeah.
But
on the defensive side of the ball, he's very weak up the middle. The defensive tackles are very low. He's got Dan Williams, only a 74. He's got Donnell Dockett in the right end. You can move him around a little bit. You can move him inside. You can move him outside. It's just where he's going to have to bring Wilson, like you said, with those stats. After Vic,
We'll have to play some Jeopardy music for you right now, but do you remember what happened last season in the playoffs with the Seattle Seahawks, real life?
Yes.
8-8,
yep.
Coming in, nobody gave him a shot.
Yep.
And then
they shocked the world.
Yeah,
They
And
shocked the world by beating the Saints. And this is, yes, I know exactly where you're going. This
Michael
could be
Vick,
one of those setups.
yeah, Michael Vick, really good quarterback this year, just like, Drew Brees was when they played. There wasn't much talk about the Seattle Seahawks. They didn't have a great defense. They were led by an average quarterback at best. The running back put up good numbers. We're talking about Marshawn Lynch, but he never got the credit he deserved for that season. And you look at Ryan Williams. He's rushed for over 1,000 yards. He averages almost 5 yards a carry. And he splits the backfield. He's got 4 touchdowns. You think, oh, you're talking about a guy that's got 4 touchdowns. But then you go and look at Beanie Wells. Not as many touches. He's got almost 500 yards. And again, 4 yards a carry. So you're looking at a guy who gets almost 5 yards, and you're looking at a guy who gets 4 yards with 6 touchdowns. So he uses Beanie Wells to his advantage. He uses them as the bruiser back, obviously. Or as Stocks like to call him, the motorboat back.
Oh, yes, good old motorboat.
So you need that good old motorboat. That was more of a joke this season for us as a motorboat back, but this proves that you need a motorboat back. So could we be looking at last year's playoffs where you see a guy like the Seattle Seahawks who's not being talked about a lot, and then boom, here he comes. I don't know if this guy's in the slot or not, but Roberts is receiving wide receiver with 4 touchdowns, 500 yards, 17 receptions. So he hasn't been able to get a lot of receptions. He obviously leans heavily on Larry Fitzgerald with 81 receptions, 11 touchdowns. He's only thrown 25, so Larry Fitzgerald gets 11 of the 25 touchdowns. That's pretty good. He hasn't used any other quarterback, hasn't experimented with a rookie quarterback at all, obviously. Why would you? He started 0-6. He didn't have the luxury of resting starters and all that kind of stuff. Let's go back to the Eagles really quick, and let's finish up the discussion on these guys. I am going to keep the discussion that we had earlier when Manny came in, and we had to have 20 good minutes with Manny because it was Manny after all. So we're going to keep that discussion too. But I look at this Eagles team in the 3rd overall in points. They scored 28.6. Total yards are 9th. Passing yards, the only thing he's a little bit low on is his rushing yards. But we're going to see Patrick Peterson up against Macklin, possibly. I would imagine Macklin. But then maybe you have Adrian Wilson over on Deshaun Jackson's side to make sure he doesn't get burnt. Finley, you guys didn't seem to think Finley was going to be missed at all. So, but I guarantee you the Cardinals is happy that Finley isn't playing it this week.
So my question is to you, where is the weak point on this Philadelphia team?
The pressure to be good, I think, is the weak point. The pressure to be good is it? Listen. I love the Eagles, and he's a really good player, but he's shown weakness this season, and right now he's got a lot of pressure on him. He has the best team in the game, in my opinion. There is no glaring weakness, and I think that in itself can be enough pressure to cause you to lose. Managing expectations, and I think he has too much. We talk about it, but the Cardinals don't have any pressure on him at all. People probably don't even. I bet you people didn't know Adrian Wilson had such a good season.
Probably not, because we didn't have much of a chance to talk about how the Cardinals team came out of the cellar.
Yeah.
And I think that's our fault. I don't think we stayed on top of our game.
No.
And gave enough from what this guy did, and we're going to have to praise him on the off season when we look back at this season. And just give kudos to him and to other owners that okay, they're cellar dwellers, but guess what? Look what he did.
But what's the weakness to you? I mean, there is no player weakness, I don't think. I mean,
on the Eagles side, no. That is why I have a hard time. I'm just looking over roster and player matchups versus stats. I haven't even looked at their stats. I don't really care if I can't find a weakness. That's the problem. I can't,
Yeah.
like I said, I can't find that weakness on the
Well,
team.
you heard that pause. That was Stock trying to find one, but really, you look up and down the roster. There's not much weakness, but I think managing those expectations to be great is the trouble.
Yes, I agree with you in that aspect.
I think you heard it in Manny's voice. A guy like the Giants who went 16-0, didn't lose a game, doesn't have a blemish on the record. He's as happy as a girl taking a school picture right now. He had no pimples, no blemishes, no mistakes at all on his record, and Stocks like that one too. But Manny didn't seem too concerned about him. But when he talked about the Eagles, he was like, "Woo, death by Eagles." Danny, he has a lot of talent, blah blah blah. And I agree with that, but managing that expectation, I mean, when your boss tells you that he expects you to make it to the Super Bowl, there's got to be some pressure there.
Yeah, and the whole aspect, like we talked about the Texans this year. Do the Eagles have too many cooks in the kitchen? Is he the type of owner to do that and kind of downfall at that? Like, okay, I got all these weapons and I got to feed them and you know what I mean? I got to do this, I got to do that. So you kind of, does that ever come into play with this team this year? I don't know.
I don't know. Hey, I think this will be a good matchup. I think we saved the, we're going to your game now. Best of luck to both teams. It will be very interesting to watch the playoffs. We have dynamic, storylines everywhere. Best of luck to both teams. Thank God you got here because it's an honor just to get here. Let me just say that because there's a lot of teams right now sitting out. Myself, the Cowboys. There's a number of teams that are very talented that didn't make it in. Manny, he's out there. He didn't make it in. I mean, we love just a second chance. So soak up the moment. Now, don't be afraid of the moment. Don't be afraid to play your game. Don't dodge anybody this week. But when you're in the game, just take a moment to be like, this is the playoffs, damn it. Let's step it up, Take a moment to soak it in because it goes quick.
It does.
There's no more minutes than the regular season. We still play 10-minute quarters. We still have to line the ball up. You still have to move the ball. It's the same game. It's just enjoy the moment while it's there. Stocks, I'll let you close it up. Close up shop. We'll move on to your game.
Yeah, both teams coming into it. Good luck. It's the Davis versus Goliath, and let's see if the Cardinals can shock the world. Anything's possible once you get into this game in this type of atmosphere. So, kudos to the Cardinals owner digging himself out. That's awesome. I love being able to see guys do that in this league because he did his homework and this is his payoff. Go have fun.
Yeah, go have fun is it. I mean, with the Eagles, you got the team, brother. Go out and take it. Go.
Yeah.
It's time for war. That's in the virtual world. That's what they'll be doing in the playoffs. And I think we saved. Although both of these games have blockbuster potential, we talked about it with Manny. The best game in the playoffs, wild card, type type business. I think the best game is the Vikings and the Saints. And just so you guys know, just so you don't think there's any shenanigans going on because Stocks is the owner of the Steelers now, or the Saints. This was voted Game of the Week by our new trusted website. XFM.
And that kind of gave me a chuckle when I went onto the website because I don't know if you guys know, but last year when we had 11, we had the fantasy team and AP was my second overall pick. So it's kind of amusing that I'm going against the guy that I ran with for many seasons with.
And you know him very well, and I think of nothing else. People always say, "Oh, you guys probably talk about history too much," but you know AP. You know what he can do. You know how many tackles he's gonna break. And
I know exactly his style and what he brings and what he can do. That's what scares me.
Well, yeah. It's gonna come down. Like Manny mentioned it earlier. I know Manny. He was all over it. I'm telling you, that guy was excited as I've ever seen him before for the playoffs, and as well he should be. But he talked about a lot of different things, and I know he was talking quick and he was talking fast, but the guy's tired. He had to get to a lot of things. He wants to give every owner, his fair share. But in case you missed it, he said he thinks that AP is going to be the difference. And he also said that he says if you can keep Ponder, if you can force Ponder to throw the ball, you're looking good. The X factor, because I know you don't want to brag about your team a lot, so it's going to be a lot of me carrying the wagon on this one. I think the X factor for the Vikings is, like you said, does he change it up? Does he do things maybe that you wouldn't normally do in the season? And one way, obviously, to do that, to kind of throw the kitchen sink at you, if you will, before he cooks in the kitchen, is does he put Joe Webb back there a few times? Joe Webb being the quarterback who's got some scramblability. And I know you're not opposed to that idea. In previous years, you've had Johnson, right, from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So you've also used that technique before, having a scrambling quarterback for goal line situations, for these type of things. Is it possible to see a Joe Webb? I don't know. That's up to him. But to me, you have to do something a little different. We talked about even maybe putting Larry Fitzgerald in a wildcat situation, or throwing him a screen not normally thrown. I think the big thing for me, the big thing I've been harping on all this whole podcast, is do something that the owner doesn't see coming. Because you know what, Stocks, in the playoffs it comes down to one big play sometimes. What happens if he lines up in a shotgun and you're so focused on AP and you forget, hey, that quarterback isn't white, that's Joe Webb. And he busts off a 30-yard run. That could be the difference, I'm not saying he will. I'm just saying sometimes the playoffs come down to one big play and that's it. And it's only one game, you know that. So
anything's possible.
All you gotta do is win one game, one quarter at a time. And man, a big 30-yard run or a big scramble touchdown near the goal line could be it. Maybe you run the option formation with AP. I don't know. I just think you gotta change it up. But talking about things we know you're very good. You were undefeated part of the season, which I know you were very disappointed in. You kind of think you edged your way into the playoffs, and honestly you did. But it doesn't matter now, does it? Because you're in the playoffs. Good season for the Panthers. Not going to take anything away from him. A lot of his games were Sims losses, but unfortunately for him, he's not in the playoffs, and you are. And I know the season didn't end how you would have liked it to, but the facts are the facts. You're still in the playoffs, man. And you're a very good team and very capable. Talk to me about the effect that Mike Williams will have in the game, you think?
Yeah, Mike Williams is definitely going to be a factor. He's been hit or miss this year. He started off really, really well, cooled off, and then recently picked it back up. His size and his spectacular catch is huge for me.
Mm-hmm.
If I see him going up against a little corner, that's definitely something that stands out because he's a big guy. if he can make one or two big plays for me, that's just that's more help for Drew Brees and the Saints offense.
Well, then you played the Vikings in one of your weeks, didn't you? You guys have a
Yeah.
pass.
Yes, we have a recent pass in Week 16.
Week 16.
It was a close game until AP finally just took over. It was a good game. We both fought very well, and AP just went off on me.
Yes, he did. He had 183 yards. His longest was 43 yards, 1 touchdown. Ponder looked average. I don't think you'd expect much. You're not. Ponder's not going to win you the game. All you want for Ponder is to manage the game. He went 10 for 15, which is very efficient in terms of the completion to attempts. But he also had 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. So that right there, that's void. On your end, you also had a very lackluster game with Breeze. Not bad, but not great. You went 13 for 22, 164 yards, a touchdown and an interception. The biggest difference was Mark Ingram had 14 carries and only 46 yards. His longest was 7 yards, so he kept everything in front of him, where AP just blew up. 47 yards. On AP's longest run, he almost had as many yards as
what does that tell you exactly?
Ingram had. Now that could be totally different. In the playoffs, you're going to have to pound the ball so Ingram becomes more valuable. Jimmy Graham, he was your top receiver in that game. Mike Williams, you spread the ball around very well, and I think that's what he's got to watch out for. And the reason I'm going back to this game is because I know you're not going to talk a lot about the game itself, because obviously you've scouted this game, you have your own philosophy, and I don't want to ruin any of that. I don't want to ruin probably the best game of the playoffs, the game of the week. I don't want to give a leg up to anyone. But just looking at the stats, you spread the ball around well. Your defense, Brian Cushing's back in the game, isn't he? You lost Vilma, but Cushing is there. His top receiver was Shanko, so you guys have a similar style in that regard. You both look at your tight ends as possibly your number one, your number one guys. He had 65 yards. You had 41 with Graham. So you guys all obviously look at him. So we talk about even matchups. We talk about teams that do things very similar, and you guys match up very well. He throws to AP out of the backfield. You also throw to a running back. It isn't Ingram a lot of times. It can be Ingram. You did throw 1 for 21 yards. I'm assuming it was a screen. But you also throw to Sproles. So you do run the ball, don't get me wrong, but you also are not afraid to sling it out there a little bit and, let the short passes, the running backs, get these little sling passes from Drew Brees and see what you got there. And that seems to be what he does too. He did run with a Ponder in that game, which might have been just a breakdown play. Oh shit, I got to do something because he's gonna knock my head off here because he lost 9 yards on that play. So, that's that. I know, like I said, I know you're not going to talk about it a lot. But what's the thing that kind of scares you the most besides AP? Or if it is AP, what scares you about AP the most?
I have the two things is, the first half, let's say I hold AP. Third quarter comes, I'm still holding AP. But then guess what? Here comes the fourth quarter, okay? He breaks off a 15, breaks off another 15, and another, and it can spiral out of control with this type of player. I know it. I've done it with him. He's a type of player you just ride his horse, and he can break it even if you're holding him down to the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Also, the Devin Hester kickoff punt return is huge. He has Devin Hester. He made a trade with him. He's a great threat, not in the wide receiver spot, but mostly in the kick return and punt return. He can do a lot of things with that, and you just have to be careful of that.
You got to watch E.J. Henderson on his defense. He had 45 tackles, which is average for a linebacker. You probably expect more towards 50, but that's average. He had 2 sacks, 1 forced fumble, or 2 interceptions. Major Wright also had a pretty good season out of the safety position. But he really on defense he attacks you as a team. He doesn't rely on one stud defensive player.
Well, he does have Julius Peppers.
Well, that's true. And I overlooked him, but obviously you can tell Stocks is getting ready. He's in game shape, baby. He's got the block, white on. He's all laced up because he didn't forget about Julius Peppers. Like I said, you're not going to talk about the game a lot. This is the point where I wish I had Alex because you're going to play all political on me. But the thing it's going to come down to me, it's going to come down to the kicking game, like you said, or the kicking specialist, David Hester versus Sproles. I think this is a field position game. I think whoever has the best field position wins the game. That being, let's see if he doesn't have any injuries. Do you have any injuries? Let's see.
Just Vilma.
Just Vilma. He's out for the season, right?
Yep.
Oh, well, good luck, because I wish I could watch this one. People were like, oh, you're going to broadcast the Super Bowl. You're going to broadcast playoff games. Hey, we can only do what you guys were willing to do, with us. Me and Stocks can break down as many games as you want. We can talk about it. We can do live broadcasting. But the thing is, okay, for us to break down a game, we have to hear it and we have to see it. And there hasn't even been that many people willing to come on and just talk to us. So I doubt there's gonna be a lot of people willing to come on and let us watch the game. We'd love to break down the game if we can live. That'd be great. But the thing is, I don't know if we can do it because I don't know how willing people will be. I know Stocks. If I want to do the broadcast, say you're in the Super Bowl and Alex can join me and we can break down the game and talk about it live, we'll do that. But outside of you outside of you making it, I don't really see any other people really doing it. And the problem with that is I don't want to influence the game. Listen, people usually don't broadcast their games. That puts some extra pressure. That puts some extra time into setting that up, making sure I can be on it, And listen, the Super Bowl is nothing to be trying new things at. You know what I mean? I don't really want to mess with that. Now, if both teams say, "Oh yeah, sure, we can do that," I'm okay with that. But hey, man, the Super Bowl is the Super Bowl. I don't want to mess with anyone getting there because as well as real life, when you don't always get to go back there. This might be your only playoff season that you go.
Oh yeah, nothing's guaranteed.
So, if you get to the Super Bowl, if you're lucky enough to get there in this league, I don't want to mess you up. Now, if you agree to it, fine, I'll do it. But that's just because I got 8 people today, Stocks, or yesterday or whatever, saying, "Oh, broadcast some playoff games. That'd be great." Okay, but the playoffs are a special time, And we're not talking about a season where you lose one game because we decided to broadcast it, whatever, move on. The Super Bowl, the playoffs, it's a special time. I don't want to influence any game. Like I said, the AP factor, I think it all rides on him. I think if you can keep Ponder, I think if you can force Ponder to win the game, that's the best way to do it. Now that being said, Ponder did throw for over 3,000 yards and 28 touchdowns.
Yeah, it's not too shabby for a rookie quarterback.
No. And isn't that funny though? Look how many rookie quarterbacks we have in the playoffs, man. We got Ponder. We have Locker. Have Andy Dalton.
Yep.
3 quarterbacks in the playoffs. And look at the guys we don't have in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers missing. Tony Romo hasn't played good in the playoffs, so maybe that's good he's missing out of the playoffs. That's the story for another day. But you got Aaron Rodgers out of the playoffs. Matt Ryan's not in the playoffs. Peyton Manning's not in the playoffs. Eli is, but Peyton Manning isn't. So you got all these great players who aren't in the playoffs. And what about this? The number one pick in the NFL, the rookie number one pick in the NFL, the best quarterback thought to be in that draft, Cam Newton, not in the playoffs. But we have three other rookie quarterbacks who are. Now, granted, that plays on how good your season started, and the Panthers having some sim losses. But still, this is just a wacky, wacky league, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's
I mean, if there was any quarterback I figured that was going to make it to the playoffs this season, it'd be Cam Newton. But he's not. But you got three other quarterbacks who are.
Yeah, it's just nothing's guaranteed in this league, and so is next year. I mean, just because all these teams are in the playoffs this year, I don't believe it's going to be this way next year. It's just great to see the Cardinals do what he did, and that's a perfect example of all the owners, that have those doubts in their mind. You need to look at him and take a page from his book.
Yeah, and going back to the NFC North, the Bears and the Vikings, both 11-5. To go 11-5 in my division, to be both 11-5 is a very tough thing. To have a team go 16-0, very tough thing. We've seen some very impressive things in this league, and I think this game right here is going to be another impressive game that people will remember. It's hard to break down your game with you because it's the playoffs. You're not going to give a lot of secrets away. If I was playing you, this is what I would do. I played you before, so I know you got to stop Jimmy Graham. You got to stop him because that guy. What is he stock? 6'6"?
6'6", yep.
6. That means if stock throws up a jump ball, probably statistically corners aren't over 6'1". I think he does have a corner in Cook who is 6'4". So it's interesting. Does Cook get assigned defensively to Graham, or does he put Cook on or does he put Cook on Williams who's 6'5"? The matchup problem for you is you got some tall receivers, man. And then you got your fast guys that you hide behind the offensive line, your Sproles, your Hendersons, your Moore, those type of guys. And what about that trade, man? That trade in the beginning of the season, Meacham and your second round draft pick.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I'm a huge Mike Williams fan. This is where I got him for games like this. Hopefully he can come through for me, and I got what I thought I got. When I traded.
Yeah. Well, another thing for the Vikings, just to wrap it up, if he can stop the Graham in your running game, which is harder to do than thinks, you still got weapons. Where no offense to him, all he's really got is AP, in my opinion. You got more weapons, so I give you the advantage. I say you win 21-14. Low scoring game. I think you guys will move the ball. Yeah, you guys will get your offensive yardage. I just think you'll play bend but don't break defense, and it's only 21-14.
I like that outcome. I would take that outcome definitely any day. I think we both know each other from the recent past.
Yeah.
From the times we played, so it's going to be a close, low-scoring game, I believe. It's in the dome, so we're both dome teams. I can't give a predicament because I jinx myself, but it's definitely going to be a good game.
Hey, when you're delivering that mail this week, man, don't jam your finger in the door or anything because you're going to need your thumbs this week. So
that's exactly.
I don't want to hear any playoff excuses. I don't want you to get bit by a dog, trip on a cat, any of that kind of stuff when you're delivering a package now. Because you got a big enough package to worry about. And that's the AP. And let's not forget, we were talking about guys who you might not be thinking about making a big impact. He's also got Gerhardt, who could be a motorboat thumper back.
Without a doubt, he's a motorboat back.
To spell Adrian Peterson. And on your side, the guy who you got to watch out for that you might not be thinking about right now, watch out for Sproles, man. Not just in the receiving game, because you can see the stats, Watch out for him in the kicking game, and that's it. And I'll tell you this real quick. If you want another one, watch out for Hartley. That guy can kick, man. That's who you got. Your kicker's Hartley, right?
Yep.
He kicked the big one against the Bears like week 4.
Yep.
So he's due
54.
for another one. Those are my keys. Those are my surprises. You know, Stocks is like, get me out of here before you ruin my plan. So,
no, it's all good, man. It's all in fun. You know, you guys just have fun. Whoever's playing in the playoffs and whoever's not, get ready for the draft because it's coming.
Oh, it's coming quick, isn't it? I think
yes, it is.
We play our game, but we have the Super Bowl. Man, he's got it all set up, man. That guy, I don't know. He must never sleep, but we play the playoffs, then we go right to the draft. So it'll be great. It'll be fun. It'll be exciting. I mean, fun stuff is ahead. You know, I'm looking forward to it. Let's peace out, guys.
Peace out.